Hello and a warm welcome to World This Week by Latest Laws. This is a weekly program, so hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos. My name is Vasvi Bhatia and let's begin with Supreme Court this week.
The Supreme Court has held that employees whose services got terminated are required to plead no gainful employment or employment with lesser wages, post-termination at first instance in order to get back wages. The Supreme Court has held that reimbursement of monetary loss doesn't mitigate misconduct on the part of the person. The division bench in this view allowed appeal against Catt's decision wherein punishment of an employee was modified from the dismissal, removal from service to compulsory retirement. The Supreme Court has demanded from the state of Madhya Pradesh to clarify whether it has adopted any policy of providing grant incentives and increments to public prosecutors when they secure death penalty in a matter. The full bench previously, during hearing of an application seeking permission for mitigation investigators to interview the petitioner in prison, had directed the registry to register a separate writ petition wherein it would consider the larger issue and lay down norms and guidelines pertaining to the process of collecting and scrutinizing mitigation information in death penalty matters. Next, we have the Delhi High Court. The High Court of Delhi has ruled that one or more occasional acts of adultery committed by a wife in isolation do not amount to living in adultery and do not disentitle the woman from maintenance after divorce. According to a report by the news agency, Justice Chandradhari Singh said that the law, earlier interpreted by several high courts, evinces and only repeated acts of adultery and cohabitation in adultery would attract the rigorous of the provision under 125(4) of the Criminal Procedure Code. The High Court of Delhi granted 2 weeks' time to the Election Commission of India to file its response on a PIL seeking direction to formulate the norms of democracy within the political parties. The plea alleged that various provisions related to the organizational elections are not being followed by the political parties. The Delhi High Court has held that filing of the written statement within the prescribed time but without an accompanying affidavit of admission, denial of documents does not amount to non-est filling, and it cannot be said that nothing was filed at all. Next, we have the Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court has held that the ambit of abetment to suicide also includes continuous annoyance of words, deeds or conduct, as in some cases these factors can be sensitive and result in provocation of a person. The Allahabad High Court has held that police can now suo moto make further investigations in cognizable cases, and magistrates nod for the same is not mandatorily required. The division bench observed that the police's power to further look into a matter continue even after the charge sheet has been filed under section 173 subsection 2 of CRPC and cognizance of the same has been taken thereon. Next, we have the Punjab and Haryana High Court. The Punjab and Haryana High Court has held that the parties having any right, title or interest in the disputed property are the necessary parties even for the purpose of granting, refusing the relief of injunction in a suit. Punjab and Haryana Court have held that the anticipatory bail on behalf of the petitioner who is proclaimed offender is not maintainable. Punjab and Haryana High Court has held that the custody of the father as a natural guardian cannot be said to be illegal or unlawful, and therefore it would not be appropriate to issue a writ of habeas corpus in favor of the petition. The Punjab and Haryana High Court has reiterated that Order 7, Rule 11, CPC can be invoked for rejection of plaint at any stage before conclusion of trial. Next, we have the Madras High Court. The Madras High Court has reiterated that when an arbitration agreement is in the form of a clause, covenant in a contract, the termination of or effacing of the contract does not terminate or efface the arbitration agreement. The single judge bench observed that the arbitration clause contained in a partnership deed survives the termination of a deed as it is an independent contract. Next, we have the Calcutta High Court. The Calcutta High Court has imposed a hefty fine of Rs 25,000 on a party that sought adjournment for the 4th consecutive time in a habitual manner. The division bench was displeased with the repeated adjournments sought despite accommodating orders passed by courts. Next, we have the Kerala High Court. The Kerala High Court has held that plaintiff not providing details of funds in possession is not fatal to suit for specific performance, as such details are matter of evidence needed to be pleaded. The Kerala High Court has ruled that an illegal appointment will not get legitimized or sanctified by a flux of time. Next, we have miscellaneous news. The National Green Tribunal has directed the Jaipur Development Authority to deposit a sum of Rs 2 crores towards interim compensation over discharge of untreated water in Bandi River by an STP set up by it. Finally, we have the international news. Overturning the tradition by which all newborns are automatically named after their fathers, the Constitutional Court has ruled that Italian children should be given the surnames of both parents. The practice was discriminatory and harmful to the identity of the child, Italy's court said in a statement, adding that both parents should be able to choose the surname. Regulators may examine Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, but are unlikely to sue to block it. Former antitrust official said Bill Bayer, who led the Justice Department's antitrust division during the Obama administration, said enforcers would look hard to see whether there is a risk to competition and to consumers. The big price tag, roughly $44 billion, will require Twitter and Mr. Musk to submit the deal for review by the Justice Department or the Federal Trade Commission, the two agencies that regulate the acquisitions. Regional lobby group Anti-Death Penalty Asia Network condemned the Singaporean government for execution of Malaysian Negarathran K. Dharmalingam for drug trafficking. The group said that with the act, Singapore government has defied international law and norms prohibiting the execution of a person with intellectual or psychosocial disability under the United Nations Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Singapore never acknowledged the Nagathram's diminished capacity and low IQ of 69 were proceeding to execute him while no independent assessment of his mental condition took place, said the court. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. This is a weekly program. To get more information, check the description box, and to get weekly updates, like and subscribe to our channel.